Sorry for the long intro, but it's another Raw video from your favorite YouTube scout, Draft Raw Authentic. Yes, I am finally here making another video, and like I said, it's a raw one, so there will be no edits. Now. Yes, I'm in the car again. I know it's dark. I'm dark, so you probably can't hardly see me. But I'm picking up my wife right now, Friday, picking her up from work, whatever. Y'all know I talked about it already. She's pregnant. You know, I gotta go get the wifey. Especially we're in the stage 7 months, so she got 2 months left. The baby's due date is supposed to be December 12th. I think it's October 5th. So we're pretty much, or October 6th, I forgot, whatever it is. But we're pretty much in that whole, it's 2 months in a week's, phase. It's getting close, so I'm gonna make sure that I pick up the wifey every single time. Sorry about going on a tangent about that real quick, but I just had to explain why I'm in the car. Anyway, the reason I'm making this video is because I just seen another video from a YouTuber that I like watching, especially during the games. His name is Ingraven. He is a Ravens like YouTuber. He talks about the Ravens. He not only talks about the Ravens, like he talks about other teams too, especially like just different stuff that's going on with them. When they picked up a free agent and, just everything that happens. Guys getting injured and stuff like that. He tries to keep people informed. He tries to put out videos basically right when he gets the information. So he keeps people, alert and everything that's going on in the NFL, and not just with, our favorite team, the Ravens, but also pretty much all teams in the NFL. But obviously he talks about the Ravens a lot because that is his favorite team. The thing is that he, like I said, he just put up a video, and in that vid, he had a bunch of different questions. People had asked him a bunch of different questions, and one question that stood out to me, which is in the title of his video, was that if the Ravens had drafted Calvin Ridley, would he be just as good of a receiver? Now, I think that question can go with any team. If any team had drafted Calvin Ridley, would Calvin Ridley be just as good? And I think that Calvin Ridley, I will say Calvin Ridley is in a good situation because he has Mohamed Sanu and Julio Jones to ahead of him, to kind of, I guess you could say, look after him. But I think this question, like I said, can go to any team. Would Calvin Ridley be good if he was not drafted by the Falcons? Would he be just as good on any other team? Okay, so going to just the Ravens, I'm gonna just answer that part first, because he had an answer for that, and he said that no, he said that the Ravens are not good at developing receivers, and that's why he don't think Calvin Ridley would have been as good with the Ravens as he is with the Falcons. I, on the other hand, will not say that. I'm going to say this, okay? The Ravens have showed over the years that they're not great at developing receivers. Our best receiver the Ravens has ever drafted was Torrey Smith. Now, Torrey Smith and who he's been since he left the Ravens is pretty much who he's been when he was with the Ravens. I think if you look at the stats, besides, I think, what was the 2013 season, Torrey Smith was a receiver that, didn't have 1,000 yards and never really got over 60 catches. Like, he barely, that was like his cap. It was around 60 and less, 60 and lower catches. And the reason why I'm stating this fact right now is because I look at a guy like Torrey Smith, and he's such a good deep threat type of receiver that's what he's always been. Like, that has been his forte. So basically, when it's come down to it, anytime he's been on another team, i.e. when he's been with the 49ers or the Philadelphia Eagles last year, and this year he's with the Panthers, he's pretty much just been a deep threat type of receiver. Nothing more, nothing less. He's been so good at it, and it's crazy because when Torrey Smith came out, I actually compared him, and I know I said, I wasn't really looking at, I didn't study deep into the draft until 2014, but I still looked at players when they were coming out, and Torrey Smith reminded me of Bernard Berrian. And he was a receiver that played for both the Bears and the Vikings. He was a deep threat guy. I think that they, compared to each other very, very well. And on both teams, he didn't have a solid quarterback. So Berrian didn't have the best career overall. But Torrey Smith has kind of had the career that's been better. And now he's playing with Cam Newton. Last year he played with Carson Wentz and Nick Foles. The year before, not the year before, but the team before, he was playing with, what's that team called? He was playing with the 49ers, but he was playing with the quarterback Colin Kaepernick, and he had Joe Flacco. So, he's had pretty solid quarterback over his years. And, of course, with the 49ers, he didn't do as great. But with this first team and the latter two teams, he's been doing better than what he did with the 49ers. But overall, when it came to just developing receivers, that's pretty much the only one. The rest of the receivers, now when I look at the Ravens and the receivers that they have drafted, and not just the receivers that they drafted, but let's just say within the first 3 rounds, they've only drafted maybe 5 receivers in the first 3 rounds. I believe there was a receiver back in the day that they drafted like the 2nd or 3rd round. He ended up not working out anyway, so it is what it is, and he's a no-name type of guy. The rest of the guys are a little bit more known for the Ravens, and one is Travis Taylor, who I just think that, situational-wise, you'll always get those type of receivers that just are not as good when they get to the NFL, i.e. you look at a Kevin White. He hasn't been good at all, and he looked great in college, and he just hasn't been good. And then I look at looking further into the Ravens, you're looking at a guy like who's the next one? Mark Clayton. Mark Clayton was a receiver that he did solid for us. He was a solid number 2, would have been probably a really solid number 3 type of receiver, but he was never. He never developed into that first-round status that we drafted him in. To be compared to a guy that he was in the draft with, Roddy White, and the Ravens could have drafted Roddy White and didn't. And I think a lot of that had to do with what school he went to. Roddy White went to, like, UAB or something like that, and then Mark Clayton went to Oklahoma. So, of course, Oklahoma, where you have so many big-time players or whatever coming from that school, you're looking at that as saying, hey, this guy's legit. But he wasn't. And then, the latest, Breshad Perriman. Breshad Perriman was absolutely trash. Never liked Breshad Perriman as a player. And actually, and this is not really a rumor, but there was a story that came out out of Baltimore, and supposedly this is from the Ravens camp, and I actually heard it on the radio from a radio personality. And most of the times those guys are not wrong when it comes to this stuff, but they said Perriman, scouts actually told Ozzie Newsome or whoever their lead scout person, gave him a scouting report and saying that, all the stuff that we knew about him. But the one thing is that his coach said that he wouldn't trust him. His coach said that he didn't have no dog in him. His coach said that it wasn't like, he just wasn't really, like, it was like he kind of gave up, or he wasn't really into the game like that. And he just he lose confidence quickly and stuff like that. And it's kind of funny that he said all of these things. His Breshad Perriman's UCF coach actually said all these things, and it's come true in the NFL. And if that's true, it's kind of one of those things where it's not about developing receivers. Now you get to the point where it's like, hold on, y'all literally picked up a guy that shouldn't have been drafted. And that's the frustrating part. We know, and everybody knows, Breshad Perriman shouldn't have been a draftable receiver. He shouldn't have been a draftable guy. I think that when it comes to Breshad Perriman, it's one of those things where I guess they thought of height, weight, and speed, and plus his father played in the NFL. They thought that maybe he would be a good player, maybe he would develop better and stuff like that. And the thing is, he just was never going to develop. If your father plays the same position that you're playing, and in college you wasn't that good, what makes you think that when you get to the NFL, you're just going to develop to be better? It just doesn't happen. So we're looking at that situation. I'm looking at that situation, and I'm saying to myself, I got to look at it as the Ravens, who they drafted, and not how they develop guys. Like I said, when it come down to it, in the history, I think we've literally drafted 5 receivers within the first 3 rounds of our draft history. We've had 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round guys, and none of them worked out, and of course none of them was going to work out. But when it comes down to it, you know, we haven't drafted the guys that we are supposed to draft, and I think that it's really hurt us in the long run. And I think that I'm sorry, because I'm trying to pay close attention, concentrate. But I think that, you know, when it comes down to Calvin Ridley, coming back to that question, I know I just took a long time explaining this, but I think I need to go in detail because Engraven didn't, and I have a different answer. When it comes down to if Calvin Ridley would be good, I think that Calvin Ridley as a player would have been solid for the team. But I also would say he was right about saying, you know, Calvin wouldn't have been the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd receiver on that team, would have been the 4th receiver. So it would have probably worked out in the long run, but as an immediate impact, we wouldn't have seen it because he wouldn't have been on the team. I mean, I'm sorry, not he wouldn't have been on the team, but he wouldn't have been the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd receiver. So it is what it is. But also, I just think of him as a player, just in general. As a player, he would have been good on any team. He can route run. My question when it came to Calvin Ridley that I worried about was catching. You know, when it comes down to making those certain catches, like where you have to make the catch. There is no, what is this guy doing? He is driving so slow. But sorry, you would have to make the catch, and he's not one. And that was the thing that I questioned about him. And, you know, that question still can be out there about him. And we will see over the years how good of a player he is. I know that he would definitely be a solid slot receiver, which he is right now with the Atlanta Falcons. But as an outside receiver, as a consistent type of receiver to being a number 1 and number 2, can he be that? And I feel as though, you know, we'll see. You know, years down the road, when we come back to it, we'll see. Is he as good of a receiver as people make him out to be? Who knows? But anyway, once again, this is Draft Raw Authentic. Please comment, rate, subscribe. Not rate, but like, subscribe. Please help me share this video. Put it out there. Maybe I get some more subscribers, some more viewers. I can grow. I can get bigger and bigger. And I can bring y'all better and more content. New cameras, stuff like that. You know, if I can start making money on this and start put my all into this and this YouTube thing, you know, better stuff will happen. I will do prizes. I will do fan call-ups. I will do a lot of different things to really be more interactive with people that actually watch me. So please help me. Please share. Please like. Please comment. Do everything you can. If you're a subscriber, please. I will greatly appreciate it. Once again, this is Draft Raw Authentic. I thank you for watching. Goodbye.